Because when you are obedient and intentional, the outcome becomes inevitable. What you're looking for, what's been put on your heart, what you've been called to, what you desire, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Own It Show. I'm your host, Justin Roethlingshoefer. And if it's your first time here, I just want to welcome you because this is the place where we teach, educate, empower, and equip you to take ownership of your health. And today's a very special episode and something, quite frankly, that we've been working together for a long time on. And if you notice, if you're watching on YouTube or even on certain video platforms, you'll notice that I have a guest that is not a health expert or biohacker or some other person that we're putting out here, but rather it is the CEO of Own It. And my wife, Elise, and I'm so excited for where we're about to go today because there's just been a really cool journey that's happened here. And I think today's episode is really going to bless you. For anybody out there who's sitting in waiting, wanting something to happen, especially in your health, because today's a story of patience, perseverance, and obedience, quite frankly, and what happens when you walk in that light. And so if today blesses you in any way, shape, or form, the only thing I would ask is that you would leave a review or that you would share it with somebody that you love, because again, it really helps in helping us to reach other people. And I know it's a very small ask. And sometimes people say, oh, you know what? A review, what's that really going to do? It does a lot. And so if you are blessed by today's episode, do one of those two things. And I'm super excited for where we're about to go today. But when we sit in this, the reason that we're here today is Elise and I had a really cool thing happen a couple weeks ago that we are finally open and able to share with the world. And that is the fact that we got an email and said that we were one of the top 10% of the companies in America in terms of growth. And that landed us on the Inc. 5000 list, which is absolutely incredible. Number 1,300 in the nation and number 13 in the state of Florida, which is just amazing. And so it's a real honor to be added to that list. And when you look at the statistics and everything that have come out, top 10% of companies. And the reason that I wanted to share all of this was really because I think oftentimes we look on the outside, and maybe you've listened to the podcast for a long time. Maybe you've even been a part of Own It community for a long time. But I think oftentimes we forget where we came from. And I was sitting in one of my morning little meditations probably a few weeks ago. And I said to Elise, we need to do something that takes us down memory lane, because there's so many memories that I was looking back at through my photos that I was just like, my gosh, look at where we've come from. Look at the provision of God. Look at how great this is. And look at just the journey and the impact of which Own It has been making on people's lives. And so I wanted to bring you on and just really share this moment with you and ultimately everybody else and give them an insight into really where we've come from if they haven't been along for the journey.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on today. It's been a while since I've been on the podcast, and I'm really excited to be here today.
It's so funny that you said that, because literally as I was going through videos, I don't know if you guys know this, but our podcast started with something called
the weekly wind down.
And that was where Elise and I would sit, and
meaning weekly wine, W-I-N-E,
yes,
down, and we would sit, we would have a glass of wine, and we would recap the week.
I think it's so crazy because we literally sit there having a glass of wine, recapping the week, talking through it, and now we actually don't even drink wine really at all.
I do. I love a good glass of wine every now and then, but...
And then it morphed into the White Claw wrap-up, and then it morphed into Coach Conversations with Elise, and I just think it's so funny that you're here now because I know you hate being on podcasts.
Hate being on podcasts. I don't desire to have my own podcast.
That's what I meant. Because I know you hated those times that we were doing the wind down and the White Claw wrap up and the Coach Conversations. But take me back to the first time that we did this, just because for all of the listeners out there, they see us now and we've got 5,000 downloads on this podcast every single month. We've got a community that's ever growing. We've got a business that landed on the Inc. 5000 list, and we get to celebrate this. But when we go back and we look at it, I remember the very first time in which we started the business. It wasn't really even a business yet, but it was 2019. And in 2019, I had just been fired from the NHL, was coming back to New York City. You were working as a VP of Christian Louboutin, and I was trying to put up all the pieces back together. What does this look like? Where am I going to go? What am I going to do? And I knew what I wanted this to be. I knew what I wanted to create, but I had no idea how, and was struggling with the how over and over and over again.
Yeah, you're not a how person.
No. And I had the vision for it, and I would write it down every single morning. I'd spend 2 hours going on LinkedIn and just sending custom video messages. And then I'd print out flyers and go stand outside these luxury condo buildings downtown New York City and just hand out flyers. And people would tell me to go kick rocks because I was crazy. And very slowly but surely got 5, 10, 15 clients and started to work very closely with them. And I seemingly was getting myself into a position where I was just going to be a glorified personal trainer. And that was just sitting so heavy on my heart that I couldn't stand it. And it was a really tough season. It was a season where I felt very lost. And then COVID happened and we came down to Naples. And it was like COVID for us became like this unique blessing where we were able to get really close together and start to create vision together of what this potentially could look like. And I would just love your thought about that, like that journey in terms of how we cast vision together and how all of a sudden I still remember like someone we'd onboard a client and we'd have all the testing kits in our living room. We'd have all the books in the bedroom. We'd have all the wearable devices stacked up in the back office, and we'd have to throw everything in a bag, have to get it all done right before the end of the day. Every day at 4 o'clock, we'd rush to the post office to drop off 2, 3, 4, 5, however many people we onboarded that day and ship them off. What kind of comes to your mind as you like see that versus now having our fulfillment center and our concierge support team and our onboarding specialists and our teams of coaches and all the people who are making sure that everything goes?
The first word that comes to mind is humility. We absolutely had some very humble beginnings. And that's the life of a startup, right? It started as first just you, then just you and I. And then we had one VA, and it was so exciting to be able to have the business at a size where we could not only support ourselves. I was able to leave my job that at the time was a very well-paying job and hire an employee. So yeah, the word that comes up is humility, because there was a lot of sweat equity, a lot of getting your hands dirty that we had to do to really get it up and run this thing off the ground. I think the biggest thing that comes up for me when I think about that time was just GSD, get stuff done. And we were so much in a space of almost chasing this big vision that we had. And we've done so much to course correct that. And we've gotten uber focused on who we serve and what we do to the point that we're now world class in that. And of course, it's taken time to get to that point. But I think by that time, we were just excited to have a new client, and we were going to figure out how to serve them instead of having them come in and really make sure that they were the right fit for the Own It method. Because today, as it stands, there are people who are the right fit for the Own It method, and there are some people who are not.
Yeah.
And so I think it was just a very different phase of business. I also like to call it my master's in business 101. I built our first website.
Yep.
I have not designed a website since then, but we had the photo shoot in Naples.
Oh my gosh.
Which is really fun. Those are still some of my favorite pictures. We did our first website. It was branded. That was more of like a personality branded around you and I at the time. And there were so many things that I learned at that time that I never thought I was going to have to learn, from building a website to figuring out, at that point, I didn't even know what a CRM tool was, but figuring out what the right CRM tool was going to be and how to send mass emails and how to create a marketing campaign. All of those things where it was like, figure out what was going to move the needle the most, go after that, and then move to the next thing.
If you were to go back through like the heaps of memories over the course of the last 5.5 years in getting to like this really amazing accomplishment, and I think a stake in the ground, like being named to the Inc. 5000 list. When we think about what the Inc. 5000 list is, it's the 5,000 fastest growing privately held companies in America. And I think the fact that we've been able to land there, not just land there, but land in the top 10% of the fastest growing companies in America, it's a testament not only to the brand that we've built, but the processes and how we impact people, but also that people are really looking for something different, something unique, something holistic, and something that, quite frankly, hadn't really existed before we really tried to trailblaze this. What were some of your favorite memories looking back on where we've come from to where we are that stand out for you?
Yeah, there's a few. I remember, this one's a bittersweet memory, but I remember cooking dinner, like after a long, hard day, cooking dinner and being ready to sit down with you. And I'd be like, are you ready to come sit down? And you'd be like, sorry, babe, I've just got 2 more hours on LinkedIn. I got to do all this personalized messaging on LinkedIn. And we've talked about that as a marketing strategy, actually prospecting as a marketing strategy. And that's how, from a marketing perspective, that is how we started our business, is you would literally spend hours a day on LinkedIn. And so it was bittersweet because I know it was bittersweet because it was successful. But you had to spend so much time doing it. And as your wife, as your business partner, it was great. I love to see you working so hard. But then as your wife, I was like, I just want to have dinner with him. I just want to sit down at 7:30. I just want to sit down and have dinner with him already. So there's things like that. I think about our first business partner, Sharon, who I remember how we met. You had done a post. We were up in Edmonton and it was snowing. And you walked through the ravine in your boxers and you did a post on it and he commented. And through a series of conversations, we ended up having a really amazing, fruitful business partnership with him. And I remember as we were trying to finalize what the scope of the partnership was going to look like, we were walking to date night. On our walk to date night, we were like, does this feel right? Does this feel good?
We were in New York City. We were walking to our little spot right off of
Fulton
Road.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a lot of memories.
And I think what's so cool, even about as you talk about that, is the journey that other people have gone on. Like, since Sharon was with us, Sharon has since been the president of Real Brokerage and started something from scratch, brought it to $1 billion valuation, and has since exited and is now business partners with Alex and Layla Hormozi in acquisitions.com. And just in the last couple of weeks, broke the world record on the most books sold in a weekend. And so you see the journeys and the evolution of people. And I think what is so crazy to me is this has nothing to do about comparing somebody's journey, like where you're at versus where we're at, or where we're at versus where Sharon is at, or anything else. It has nothing to do with that, but it still comes back to the concept of knowing that everybody's journey did not happen overnight. It took time, it took patience, it took obedience, it took walking in some of these unique ways. Give me a couple more of your memories. I love going down this road with you.
I think another big one that stands out is we were probably a year and a half, 2 years into the business. We had well formed what the Own It program was. It was Now Thrive. We had, I think our COO, CFO was on board. I think our director of coaching was on board. We, of course, had our first employee at the time who is now our manager of operations. So we had a growing team by this point. And I think one of my most interesting memories was the first time we hired a class of new health coaches. And we had a ton of applicants. We had almost 1,000 applicants for this, but we had as we still do today, very strict credentials that they had to abide by. So that really narrowed the pool quickly. And I just remember I took all the interviews. I hired them all into a class. I think at that point we had a class of almost 15 people going through. And that was at the time where we were still doing cohorts instead of right now you can just come in and get certified on your own timeline. We've, of course, grown a lot and figured out how to make things a lot more efficient. But I just remember of that class, I think we have 3 of those coaches. One of them is now our head of coaching, still with us today. And one of them is actually one of our medical advisors.
That's right.
And just the amount of really good people who came through. And it was pretty quickly that I was able to see who was going to have lasting power and who wasn't. And of course, we've gotten much better at that today, much higher rate of succession of coaches who actually come through and stay with us. But I think it was just really interesting as I think back on these memories that if I were to build the business today, I would have done it completely differently to get to where we're at.
Really?
But yes, the end result would not be different. Still would have built the same business. But like I said, building this business was like a master's for me. I really had to get my hands dirty. I had to fail a lot. There were a lot of ways that we failed. Like I said, that initial class of 15 people, there's only 3 with us. I guess you could consider that a failure. But I had to fail a lot. I had to stumble a lot. And what I say to people today is I had to pay the dummy tax because I didn't know what I didn't know. And now seeing where we're at today, we have such a smoothly operating team. We have amazing culture. We have such good people who contribute to the business. We have amazing clients. That's another thing. All of our coaches are constantly saying, your clients are you attract really good people. And that's not easy to do in this day and age. And so I just think being able to step back and reflect on the journey that we've been on, the stumbles that we've had, the failures that we've had, but also where we've hit it right. When I think of every single big role in our company, there's not a single one that I'm like, we did it wrong. And I just think that's a testament to God and how He's been able to really help us grow on our own time and bring us the right people. And it's just been a really amazing journey.
I want to go back to something that you said because I think this is actually brilliant. And this is one of my big breakthroughs that I think I've had over the course of our time is you said you had to pay the dummy tax. And for everybody listening out there, whether you're starting a business, whether you run a business, whether you have a family, whether you are going through coaching, whether you're trying to optimize your health and step into something in your health, the biggest slogan that I hear out there all the time is that coaching can help you alleviate paying the dummy tax. And I think that was a belief that I absorbed, adopted, and ultimately stepped into. And so much so, believed that there was a coach or a hire
marketing agency
or someone that we could bring in that knew how to do it, that would be the white knight like coming on in and saving the day and making it easy and just flipping a switch and turning it on, which everybody says. And you guys all have to hear that doesn't exist in your health. And we are a health coaching company. And what I mean by that is you come in to own it and we will time collapse your journey. We will eliminate some of the errors. But at the end of the day, you still have to go and live out the habits and behaviors and the changes that we're going on. And there are moments where the data will actually tell us, hey, we're going in the wrong direction, but we can course correct much quicker. And there are going to be failures on their journey, but we're going on the journey with you. We're not selling you on the fact that we're going to transform you overnight. This is going to be a journey. This is going to take time, but we're going to do it with you. And I think that was the thing that I learned in our business was, we're not going to get there tomorrow. Like, I'm still in awe a little bit that it's 5.5 years in and people now are, and it's so funny, right? You get the text messages, congratulations. It's so amazing to see what you're doing. It's so amazing to see where you're at. It's so incredible to see this honor. It's like, we've been an overnight success, 25 years in the making. Like, this has been a long, arduous process of you going through your career to get to this point, me going through my career to get to this point, us coming together and starting this business and growing and being so convicted on what we were trying to do and what we were trying to build. And then now all of a sudden we're here. And so for anybody going through this, there's no such thing as exempting the dummy tax. You're going to pay it anytime you start walking down a journey that you've never been on before. What I hear all the time in our business from our clients, from our team, on every single team call we have, every single leadership day we have, mentorship twice a year, our monthly all hands, when I'm on with the coaches, the biggest thing they're saying is how amazing our culture is. And the culture, which is focused around our 5 key values, which are ownership, excellence, commitment. And when you think about the people who are in our company and within our culture, how do you think that became that way? Because I would say the thing that has built our business and accelerated our growth has been our culture, because of our client retention, because of our client success, because of the relationships that they have, because even with our coaches, like, our coaches just don't leave. Everybody is in our team, like, nobody leaves.
Yeah, that's right.
Not only do we have excellent people who are highly credentialed, who are in many ways overqualified for certain positions that they're in, but they just love the people and they feel like they're on purpose. And quite frankly, that their vision is alive within what we're doing. Where do you think that culture was created and how was it formed?
So I think it's 2 things. First and foremost is it is a personal passion of mine, and the way that you had vision for the Own It method, I had vision for culture, how I wanted to build a team, the type of people I wanted to attract, how I wanted to retain them. And so I think that is a big part of it, was really being super clear on what that was going to look like, how it was going to play out, how I wanted to interact with people. And of course, being a completely virtual company, we're even moving into more in-person cadences, even getting to a point where we're seeing our coaches and we're getting together on a quarterly basis with not only our coaches, but also our community. So I think having vision for culture is really important. And I think in that vein, it starts from the top down. So if I don't show up in a positive way with a positive mindset, enjoying my job, loving what I do, then how can I expect anybody else on my team to operate that way? And so when I was recruiting for really key roles, that was one of the key things I was looking for in people was the unteachable things, right? Like you can teach hard skills, you can teach process, you can even teach negotiation, you can teach coaching, but at the end of the day, you can't teach a mindset, you can't teach passion, you can't teach attitude. And if I meet with there's not a single person who gets hired onto the team unless they have a meeting with me. I might meet with them for 10 or 15 minutes, but when I am meeting with them, that is what I am sussing out.
But even within that meeting structure, there for every coach, for every major hire that we're bringing in, they're touching 4 or 5 different people.
And I'm the last person that they meet, but what I'm hiring for and what I'm looking for is culture. So I would say that is the first thing is vision for culture. The second big thing is I want to make sure I'm putting people in their flame. And that comes back to the passion piece of things. I'm lucky that the previous company I was a part of, the president of that company really taught me how to design teams for people's skill sets and for them to really be able to operate within their giftings. And so that was a really big part of how I wanted to build a team is roles can be super fluid and they can be really flexible. And I wanted to make sure that without overlap, because you want to be efficient as well in how you're designing your team. But in doing so, I really wanted to make sure that people were living out what they wanted to do, what their giftings were. Because when you don't, it becomes a really slippery slope. It becomes that I have to do this, not I get to do this. And I think that's one of the things that keeps every single person on our team continually rising to the next level and serving the way that they do is because they show up in a mindset of I get to do this, not I have to do this.
Yeah, that's good. I think the cool thing, even as we've seen the iterations of Own It, right? We've been in our startup phase, we've been in our then phase.
And that was like 9 different iterations of what Thrive was going to look like. We packaged it, then we deconstructed it all, and we sold it individually, and then we packaged it back together.
We had what we called the Chipotle model, and then we went back to the actual package model, and now we're in some type of a hybrid. And I think it's really cool just to see how the iterations have allowed us to just impact so many people. But here's, I think, the thing that is amazing to me is that the foundation, fundamentally, the standard that what we said we were going to build was a best-in-class company that used best-in-class testing, that used best-in-class technology, that used best-in-class supplementation and formulation and best-in-class health practices that did not compromise no matter the cost, no matter the cost of a team member, no matter the cost of a test, no matter the cost of a technology, no matter the cost of anything. We were not going to compromise and we were going to build something that was best in class and world class. And that's what hasn't shifted for me. That's what hasn't changed. Yes, we're using a different DNA test than we were back then, but it's only because we've continued to iterate and get into something that's better. It's not because, we were able to get something, buy it more in bulk and thus save a couple dollars here. Quite honestly, in a lot of the cellular testing, we've gone to things that are more expensive. The phlebotomy, we've gone to things that are more expensive because they're in home. They're actually going to the person. It's like full concierge, full at white glove at your service. And so I see all of this and how we've been able to hold the standard. And I think that is just really special and something to be celebrated. And quite frankly, a reason why we're starting to see the fruits of this in 5 years later. When you think about the way that we've come from it from a health philosophy standpoint and the level of completeness, the holistic integration, where did you feel along our 5-year trajectory that we really hit our stride and the pieces started to fit together?
I would say the first time we created a holistic system that included basically the 4 components of our program, which was world-class coaching and integration, the health system itself, the testing and custom supplementation, and the data integration. And that has, for 3+ years now, that has been the core of what we do, is bringing everything together. I think we did spend a good 2 years figuring out and getting to the point of that's what we wanted it to look like. I remember data was one of the very first things that we integrated. Yeah. And then we started layering on a few different testing. We had different iterations of what testing needed to be involved and what didn't. And I think we've gotten really clear on what that needs to look like. But I would say the first time it was like the intersection of those four things. It was like a puzzle that was finally came together in clear view. And then I think really we took a year to get that really right. Like I said, we had the 9 different iterations of what that was going to look like. And so I think we've really perfected that model. And then the last year and a half, 2 years has been about now growing and scaling that.
As we've built this and we've continued to iterate and move through all of those things, what has been the most rewarding thing for you looking back on those 5 years?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot that's extremely rewarding about it. I think for me, it's all about people. That's where my passion is. And so when I think about the key people on our team and where they were 5 years ago versus where they are today, I mean, a perfect example is our COO and CFO, Coy, who I've known longer than I've known you. We were business partners at Louboutin together. And just seeing not only his business growth, he came from being a director of planning to now he's CFO of a 7-figure, quickly going to be 8-figure business and growing that quickly. But his gifting and building and managing a team on the COO side, but then also personally, who he was 5 years ago from a health perspective is completely different. His values and his priorities have totally shifted.
Yeah.
He just bought a house over the summer and just 2 days ago,
The first thing he did was
sent you and I, the first thing he did was put in a gym, and he sent us a video of a fully built out gym
and a full recovery
at the
area.
ground floor of his townhome. And I just think that's so cool to see, to reflect back and see everybody's individual growth. But then you can also see collectively what we're able to do. And when you see it from an internal perspective, but then you also see the thousands of lives and the testimonies and the stories and the lives we've saved, the cancers we've healed or prevented, the heart attacks we've caught. It's amazing to really be able to dedicate your life to something where you're truly saving people's lives.
It's so true. It's exactly what mine is as well, is people. And something that I say all the time on calls is what makes Own It different is we just love people more. And I think that just holds true to not just the people we serve, but also our team. And when you live a life that's different, when you live a life that sets the standard and the example, people want to be a part of it and they follow. And I think that has been just so imperative in creating the changes in our team, the changes in our team's lives, the changes in our clients' lives. Because when you're in Own It and in the Own It ecosystem, you can't help but start to live differently, find these deeper levels of alignment, feel like you literally transform before your eyes, but you're having to go on a journey. It's something that doesn't happen in a month or two. It's something that over the course of 6 and 12 months, you start to realize something that's real. Because we don't want you just to rent your health. We want you to truly own it and take it into your hands and steward it in a powerful way. And as we look forward, what is something that you're really looking forward to in the next 5 years of Own It and where we're going and what we're doing?
I think something I'm really looking forward to is a compounded trajectory because we are so clear and so focused. And I would say, you didn't ask me this question, but I would say one of the most pivotal moments in Own It was a year and a half ago. I remember I literally shut everything down for 6 weeks. And I said, we have to get clear on who we're serving. We have an amazing product that is changing lives, but we're really struggling from a client attraction marketing perspective. And so we shut everything down for 6 weeks. And all we did was focus on getting really clear. And I think doing that has allowed us to exponentially increase year over year. For the first time, when we were smaller, it was easy to double and triple your business, but we're on trend to do at least double this year versus last year. And then next year, triple that business. And I think really being able to have that compounded success and that almost like hockey stick trajectory is really exciting. And how I would sum that up, and this has been something you've been mentioning the last couple of weeks, is just thinking bigger than I could ever imagine.
Yeah.
And I'm excited for that because I think we think big, but I think as this next season that we go into, in order for us to really get to where we're going, we have to think bigger than we've ever thought before.
What's that for you?
It's still kind of coming together, but I think for me, it's a version of really being able to have like different areas of my life that can all work together. It's not just a business thing, right? It's family, it's marriage, it's when it comes to our community. But then, of course, business is a big part of that.
I think as Elise talks, and even just why I wanted to put this out there was I want you to hear the power in process, the power in staying clear and concise to something, staying consistent with something, operating with high degrees of obedience and intentionality. Because when you are obedient and intentional, the outcome becomes inevitable. What you're looking for, what's been put on your heart, what you've been called to, what you desire, it's inevitable. It's going to happen. It's, are you willing to pay the price? Are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to be obedient? Are you willing to do the uncommon thing, the inconvenient thing, the thing that doesn't always feel good in the moment? And if you are, then the outcomes are already done. It's already predestined. It's already set up, because the call that's on your life is to heal. The call that's on your life is to thrive. The call that's on your life is to impact and influence others in a positive way. Whether that's just your world that you live in, be it your family and your immediate family or those around you in your community, or whether it's the global world in a bigger movement that has been put on your life and a call that's been put on your life. We so often forego and sacrifice the actual mission for wanting something expeditious and quickly. And that's been a long learning in my life, is you can't get there overnight. You can't do anything great overnight. You can't, and quite frankly, whatever you think is great and done overnight doesn't hold a candle to actually what is prepared for you if you're willing to go and prepare yourself. And so this is why I wanted to talk about this, because the Inc. 5000 list is such, I think, it's an award and something for our entire team, but I just wanted to highlight and honor you, because really it's an award that really validates you and the work that you've done and how you've been able to cry.
You're so sweet.
Just how you're able to put it into work and bring the vision that I have into practical use. And
we make a great team.
And into a practical use case. And all the thousands of lives, tens of thousands of lives that we've touched and changed over the course of 5 years doesn't happen without your leadership, without your ability to implement, without your ability to help build team and structure and systemize and bring this ADD, OCD,
and head in the clouds,
big vision guy into a state of focus to be able to actually make it happen. I'm so proud of Own It and the team and everything that we've done to get here. And I think it's really amazing, but I'm also just equally proud of you and how you've just developed as a leader and a CEO to lead our company, not just to where we are, but also where we're going.
Thank you, honey. Thank you for saying that. It has been a wild ride, but we do make a great team.
Very quickly, the funniest moment over the course of the last 5 years that you have in memory.
Funniest? Do you have one?
Looking back on all of this, Elise, like the fact that we had, gosh, guys, I can't even tell you how cringy this was. Looking back and looking at these Zoom workouts that I was doing.
Oh, yeah.
And
we were doing them.
And things that I was posting. It was like, my God, what are you doing, Justin? This is embarrassing. And then even going back to looking at another hilarious moment that I looked back on, and I was just like, goodness me, that is just so cringy, was we'd brought on another one of our many marketing people, and they had us put together they would ask these documents, and they kept wanting us to go down this traditional fitness where it's like calories, macros, and fitness,
six-pack abs,
exercise, and selling people on that dream, not at all understanding what we were going for or what our whole desire was. And I went back and I looked at the copy. Oh my gosh, awful. And I think that's just, again, another lesson in obedience, is be who you are. Like, know who God's called you to be and take ownership of that. And that's why I just love the title of my book, The Power of Ownership. I love the concept of what we talk about within Own It and living your life differently and living in ownership and accepting that and stepping into that. And that's really the brand of what we've built, is living a life that is so dedicated to stewarding it, to step into your greatest level of potential and really living freely, living wholly, and being able to actually experience all that life is supposed to be and thus impacting others. But the only way you're able to do that is through obedience and taking ownership of that and feeling like you can grab a hold of it and really step in. Do you know what your funniest moment is?
I don't know if I have a funniest. Yeah, filming those ads was just wild. Some of the stuff that we were doing. But I think I have the most exciting / most fun moment was our very first team day.
Yeah.
I remember we had just moved into this house. At that point, I think there were like 12 or 15 people on the team. And I think about 8 to 10 people were able to gather. We had the beginning of our outdoor gym built out, but it wasn't even painted yet.
Yeah.
It was still fire engine red.
That's right.
And just being able to like see Shauna carry like the same weight that you're carrying and having her like walk around and pump up the team. Shauna, who by the way is our very first Own It coach ever, who's still with us today. But yeah, I think just like all of us getting to be together and seeing all our coaches and seeing Christy and Coy and Josue, meeting Josue, our very first employee for the first time. That was just a really cool moment. Although it was small and humble for what it was, really getting the team together. I think that was one of the coolest moments for me.
I think hearing from our team that they are so grateful for Own It because they, for the first time, feel like they have a home to actually impact and influence people in the way that they've always wanted to is one of the coolest things. And so not only do we actually help people, but we help our team within the team.
It's so true. I mean, I think I heard this from my father, who's also an entrepreneur, is if you take care of your people, as in your employees, then they'll take care of your clients. And so that is what I hold very near and dear to my heart is I really want to make sure that our internal team is set up for success so that they can make sure that our clients soar to whatever heights they want to go to when it comes to their health.
Build the people and they'll build the business.
Yep.
So good. So guys, we just wanted to thank you. We wanted to thank you because our business doesn't grow without you, but we don't exist without you. And we aim to build something that honors you, that serves you, that is built simply and solely for your success so that you can heal, so that you can thrive, so that you can have a place that you can trust, that you know that you're getting manipulated advice, that you are getting the truth, that you are able to walk in the truth. And we just thank you for truly trusting us. And we don't take that lightly. We take that heart every single day. It's why we research every podcast. It's why we go to the level of investigation that we do for every single test we do. We go and we get the best possible products for our supplementation. It's why we go and we seek out the best possible coaches with the highest level of credentials, with the greatest level of expertise that want to build the deepest level relationship with you possible, because this isn't just about throwing something on a PDF and making it go quick, but rather it's about having something that's built to last and sustain you to actually create a transformation that is going to change your life for what you're really looking for. This isn't about skin deep transformation. This is about heart and soul transformation. So you can truly live a life that is healthy, that is whole, and that is built so that you can have the impact, influence, and legacy that you truly deserve. And all that the Inc. 5000 list does is it gives us a little stake in the sand to say, hey, your work is seen, your work is growing, and now it just tells the world that what we've been doing behind closed doors is coming to light, and that's something to be celebrated. And no matter where you are, it's not what happens in a short time, but it's what happens over the course of time that matters. And how do you make sure that when you step in, you don't start well, but you finish well? And we're committed to finishing this race, no matter when it ends for us, no matter when we're called home, no matter when we're called to shut it down, no matter what that next season looks like. But I can truly say that the best is yet to come. So we know success is different. So own your different. I will see you guys next week.